Hi everyone, I'm Luis Leiva, and I'm here to share my thoughts and life experiences so I can help you on your journey. Welcome to the Luis Leiva Show. This is episode number 3, and today I have a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I love them, I hate them, partners. Yes, you can have great partners, and you can also have partners that are dragging you down or holding you back. And this has been a reoccurring theme in my life, and today we're going to talk about how to choose good partners, how to keep good communication between partners, and how to get rid of some bad partners. So let's go back as far as we can to where partnerships actually start. So when we go to school and we start to develop relationships with people, sometimes we get buddied up in class and we have partners and we do things together, and it feels great because you know what? It's all fun. It's all gravy. We don't have to worry about the complicated things like money. We don't have to worry about who's pulling their weight and who's waking up late in the day and who's going home early. These kind of things don't appear until much, much later. So when we get into our first opportunity to jump into a partnership, when we get into business, the only thing we can remember are those great times that we had in school. But that's not the case. Things get very complicated when money gets involved and legalities get involved. In my life, I've had a few partnerships that have worked out great. I've had a partnership with my parents. I got into investing with them early on, and we did phenomenally well. And you know what? I don't care if I would have had to take every penny out of my pocket to give them a profit just because that relationship was too near and dear to me that I would never let money get in the way. So that's one of the first things you have to understand, that if you're going to get into a partnership with someone, that money cannot have a priority over your relationship. And if you're on the fence about that, you should probably think twice. And it's not only about you. You also have to think about the other person. Do they value you and value your relationship with them over money? If the answer to that is, I don't know, then you should probably think twice. Now, I've had some pretty bad partnerships as well. Some bad partnerships I had with, I'm not going to mention whether they were with family or without family, but I'll give you an example. Sometimes I would partner up with people to buy homes, and I would take a complete loss. And I would make sure that that person wouldn't take a loss. I actually had one of my partners break even while I took a loss, even though they put in a little bit of labor work, sweat equity, but so did I. I made sure that that partner did not walk away with a loss. I even gave him some money on top of that, and I said, look, I completely took a loss, $70,000 loss on this home. And here's $5,000. At least I want to give you something, for your time. Was that appreciated? Nope, it was not. So sometimes you cannot make people happy no matter what. And unfortunately, I learned with that experience and I had to move on. And then I've gotten into other partnerships with some friends who are not family who have been the best. I'm talking about the best type of partner you could ever have. Never one argument or discussion about money. Never any mistrust. Always smooth sailing, and you know what's happened? That partnership has flourished. That partnership has flourished for that individual, and it's flourished for me. We've gone from owning one property to owning almost 10 properties together, accumulating, I would say, over $1 million in equity, each most likely. And if we continue to hold on to those properties and continue growing at the pace that we're on, by the time we're ready to retire, there is no issues in life. Life is beautiful at that point. But it all stemmed from not having that love for money over people, because there could have been times where he could have raised an eyebrow. There could have been times where I said, hey, you're not pulling your weight. There could have been plenty of times that we could have pointed a finger at each other, but we don't do that. But there's been other partnerships that I've had in real estate that have not worked out so well. There's consistently questioning about this expense or that expense. Meanwhile, that person is not pulling any weight at all. And fast forward till today, I'm working my way out of a few bad relationships right now, a few bad partnerships. But there is one that trumps all. There was a partnership in my life that I should have known better, but I was just so excited. You see, when you get into a new business or you see a big opportunity, sometimes you get blinded by what could be as opposed to what really is. So I had a really, really big passion for going on an individual basis in real estate. I wanted to open up my own office. And I had a person who I really wanted to do it with, and I really thought highly of this individual, and I really said, this guy and his traits and my characteristics, we're going to crush it. We're going to kill it. But from day one, I should have known better. I thought it was me and him. And then he brings in a third partner into the mix, and I thought about it, and I said, hey, listen, why do we need this other partner? Why can't we do it alone? And he sold me on the idea. I give it to him. It made sense. But I should have known better, because at that moment on, my 50-50 partnership became a minority partnership. And what ended up happening was exactly what I feared. I was taken out from one day to the next. It was a definite blow to my ego. It was a definite blow to my self-esteem. I felt low. I felt really bad. It couldn't have happened at a worse time for me. And only with the grace of God was I able to make it past those really tough times. But I love the experience. I'm so grateful for him. And I'm so grateful that I was able to experience that, because it's molded me into a person who has gone through some really bad times and come out better on the other end. But I also know the way I will not treat people. I've learned how to not treat people because of the way it's made me feel. I would never, even if a person was wrong, I would never put them through that. I give people the dignity they deserve. You should also do that. In partnerships, there always needs to be an open line of communication. I will tell you, I was not a perfect partner. There were times where I was probably the problem, and it's because my communication skills are not great. I've been working on them over the years, and that's what true partnerships are based off of. The ability to be able to open up and talk to each other, let each other know there's a problem, let each other know there's bad news, or just tell the other person, listen, I don't think you're doing enough. I would love for you to do a little bit more. Help me out. But there should never be any finger pointing. There should never be any type of, listen, you're this or you're that. I think communication skills start with the way you approach someone else. Let's just imagine that you were the person who was the problem. How would you like to be approached? There has to be a way in which you can communicate any issue without pointing the finger. A good way of doing that is saying, listen, I know that you're good at certain things and I'm good at other things. I would love for you if you could help me out with such and such, instead of pointing it out and saying, listen, you're terrible. You're supposed to be good at this, but you're not pulling your weight. There's different ways of communicating with each other, and you should definitely be mindful of the way that you approach. Presentation is everything. So once you've gotten the communication stuff cleared out, make sure that you prioritize time with your partner in your partnership. Some businesses require you to have daily meetings, and some businesses will only require you to maybe have quarterly meetings or maybe yearly meetings if you guys get really good at it and can automate it. But until that day, there should definitely be a lot of time that you prioritize with your partner, amongst other things, on top of other things. It should not be easily interchangeable with busy work. You should always prioritize those meetings no matter what. And the same goes for your partner. If you feel like they're not prioritizing it, let them know. Listen, this is important for us to communicate. We need to have our accountability meetings. We need to have our financial meetings. These are things that are going to take precedence if you want that relationship to grow. Now, sometimes we develop partnerships without even knowing it. In my case, I was lucky enough to have an individual in my life who actually appeared out of nowhere and came along with me through a ride that was very turbulent, very rocky, and very uncertain for me. But because of this person being along the ride with me for so many years, it just morphed into a partnership. It started off as, maybe someone who came in on a work basis, or someone who was just there to, play a role. But sooner or later, that person brought so much value that it's a partnership whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. And those are sometimes the best partnerships in life, because they actually prove themselves and they show you what their true values are. If you've got people like that in your life, think about taking them to the next level. Think about promoting them into a higher position in your life, maybe in your organization, or maybe go out there and start crushing it in other industries with this person, because they are there for you and they have your back. So look around. You might be having bad partnerships. Maybe there's a way you need to start thinking about fixing those or exiting out of those. And then you need to look around and say, where can I find great partnerships? And sometimes they're right under your nose. Remember, partners are supposed to complement each other. If you are too much the same, there's probably going to be too much room for improvement there. So you're going to want to think about, if is this person the right partner for me? And if it is, then you need to start looking about delegating your weaknesses. There's going to be parts that need to be taken care of, and maybe you two are two great salespeople, but you're terrible when it comes to the books. You're going to need to get a good bookkeeper, whether you like it or not. So you need to take, basically write down a list of the things you're great at, and write down a list of the things you enjoy doing, and write down a list of the things you hate doing. Have your partner do the same thing, and then do a little matchmaking thing and figure out which things we're good at, which we're not. And hey, there's some gaps here. There's some true things that we need to work on. How do we fix that? Do you get educated in it? Do I get educated in it? Maybe we both hate it. We need to find someone else. Maybe that might call for a third partner if your business allows to have that many partnerships, or you may just need to delegate that out to a service provider. Those are all options. But I guarantee you this, you will definitely fail in your partnerships if you don't plan, if you don't look at what you're truly good at and what your business needs. This little prep work will ensure that your partnership will not only last, but your business will also blossom. That is my 2 cents on partnerships. I know that there's a lot of partnerships still ahead in life, and I'm looking into growing into different types of partnerships, much more complicated partnerships. But now I know exactly how I'm going to go about it, and I need to know exactly who the right people are that I should be partnering with, and hopefully you'll do the same. Thank you for listening today. This is episode number 3 on partnerships. I am so grateful to have you listening. And like always, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave us a review. Tell us about how you feel about this episode. And if you have any other suggestions, you could always send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube under Culture Estate. Share this episode with anyone who you think will take a lot away from it. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us that review. I think I said that already, but it's really important to help us grow. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. Bye.